And we're back. Tom Gibson here with my guest Karl Mitchell, and we have another caller, and I understand it may be Ray the Flagman.
It may be Ray the Flagman. Hey, you guys are looking good on TV, let me tell you. Nice set, nice background. They did it. It's righteous.
It's all the makeup.
Hey, I just want to explain what's going on with these tigers. You know, I own a piece of land since '82. It's a secluded piece of land. It's 20 acres. Me and my brother Rich, we took care of animals as a sanctuary for 21 years on this property. And now the county is trying to rouse Karl from the property because of the tigers. All kinds of technicalities. There's been nothing wrong with the tigers. They're coming, they're nitpicking at us. And they're threatening us with fines and jail unless we do something about it. It's even on the internet, someone is suggesting euthanization of the tigers. What is going on here?
Oh, that's madness. Are you getting any, I don't want to talk about the court case because I don't want to compromise your situation with the court, and I know that it's disfavored to try your case in the media, although I've seen people do it on occasion. But that said, where are you, though, as far as getting community support for what's going on, if any?
On October 6th, there's going to be a commission meeting. We're trying to get it on the agenda to de-annex this 20-acre parcel of land, which has been taking care of animals for 21 years. If it's de-annexed, this whole situation is moot. Judge Wonker had said, if that's the case, it's over with. There's no problem. So it's a technicality, and all we need is people to call their commissioners or email the commissioners and let them know that the commissioners have to de-annex this 20 acres and make it the right thing.
Okay, and for those who are unfamiliar with the terminology, DMX.
DNX.
I'm sorry, DNX. Oh, DNX. Oh, God, sorry.
Regional Planning.
Late in the day.
just remove it from Regional Planning Commission. You know, we should not be having these problems. From day one, we were told everything is fine, and then somebody comes up with something, hey, well, what about this technicality? And they've been putting us through hell ever since. You know, I stand up for right and principle. That's what I'm all about. I've been doing it for 18 years out here, and that's why I'm doing this also. The tigers are an endangered species, and to jeopardize them just because they can is ridiculous. And that's the point I'm making. I invite everybody October 6th to show up at the commission meeting, and before that, text or email the commissioners and tell them how you feel about it. Save the tiger. When I walk in this parade on Saturday, I'm going to carry a sign, say, save the tigers. And when anybody asks me the question, I'm going to tell them what I'm telling you on TV now. You guys got a good show. I appreciate it.
Hey, Ray, while you're up there, for those who are new to the community, why don't you introduce yourself and explain why they call you Flagman?
Well, I thought everybody knew the Flagman. Once in a while, Tom, I meet somebody that doesn't know what I'm all about. In 1998, I started walking with the flag and the Bill of Rights, and I've been doing it on a daily basis ever since. I walk every day, sometimes 3 times a day. I tell people about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, about our freedoms. For the last 13 years, I've been in the courts as an observer on a daily basis because somebody's got to keep an eye on them because the courts are completely out of whack. And so when they see me on the street, most of the time people think I'm a wacko the first time they see me, but then they see me over and over again, they're getting the message. Somebody is standing up for freedom and principle, and that's me. I'm 71 years old. I run for sheriff 5 times already. I don't know if the 6th time is in the agenda because I'll be 74 years old at that time. But somebody has got to stand up for people's rights, and that's what this is all about.
Well, let me ask you something.
Flagman, most people don't know the name Ray, but they'll say the Flagman. So they wave and honk at me, and it's appreciated.
So you're a courtroom observer, correct?
That's right. I've been doing it for 13 years, and I get to as many courtrooms as possible, and I invite people to join me and sit in and watch. It's usually Monday through Friday from 9 to about 4. You can stop in for 10 minutes or 4 hours and watch what's happening in these courts. Watch about some people that are getting raw deals and other people that are getting the sweetheart deals and are getting passes. It's open court. Just show up. They're not gonna beat you with a rubber hose.
Ray, you know, though, I mean, because I'm an attorney, if people don't know that, and I've been practicing here since 2001, and before that, since graduated law school in '87. When you say some people get sweetheart deals and some don't, I got to take a little issue with that because I've worked both sides of the aisle as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney, federal and state public defender, and now I do civil and family law. But all that said is that getting to plea bargaining, or I assume that's what you mean, sweetheart deals, right?
Let me give you one example, Tom. I mean, I know you went on both sides when you were working for the DA and your defense attorney now. The fellow, the biggest drug dealer in the county, paid $800,000 to walk, and they took his $800,000 and they let him walk. That's what I'm talking about. If that's not a sweetheart deal, I don't know what is.
Wait. Who took $800,000 and let him walk?
Nye County. Nye County.
But,
name is Reno Cristallo, 2008. And what happened is he screwed up his part of the deal, and he wound up doing a year. He wasn't supposed to do nothing. And that's a fact, and you can look it up. And it's just one example. There's other things. They just work it. They just work it, and it's ridiculous.
But you know, there's some, I mean, there are occasions, I mean, as a prosecutor, you're given a case, and sometimes you don't have much to work with. You have, like, sometimes your victims are shaky. They might be nice people, but they're not able to communicate well. You've got cops that for whatever reason, either dropped the ball or they didn't have enough to work with themselves. I mean, there's all kinds of factors that go into what a DA does or doesn't do, and so that comes across sometimes as if the show's been given away, but sometimes to get anything is a huge victory, and maybe that's what happened in the case you were referring to.
Absolutely not. They caught this guy with tons of drugs, tons and tons. It was on the front page of the paper. They had him dead bang. He would have went away for the rest of his life. That's why he paid the money.
No, I remember that case. I just don't. That was he hired counsel from out of state or out of town, if I remember.
Boston. He hired an attorney from Boston, and he had second chair was Bob Glennon, who was a local attorney. He needed somebody from Nevada with a license, I guess.
Right. That's called pro hac vici, where you're allowed to take a certain amount of cases per year in other states, according to the state rules, and but you have to have local counsel because somebody has to take the heat if you do something unethical or something that bothers the judge.
Well, don't get me wrong. I'm not against all plea bargaining. Sometimes it's got to be done. But when you see a super deal and then you see other people getting railroaded, let me just give one more example. A Hispanic guy couldn't speak English, was fined $9,998 for 2 dogs barking because they barked numerous times. And the judge sentenced him to that fine. He had an interpreter. He had no lawyer. He wound up paying $4 out of a credit card, and they forgave the rest of the fine. But, I mean, if that's not outrageous, what is?
And when was this?
This was about less than 1 year ago, and it had been in Department A, our favorite room.
Any issues going on in Department A that you're willing to speak about?
Well, I sat in there today, and everything was copacetic today. There was almost turmoil at the end because it was on an extended protective order, and the bailiff, Brian, almost had to really come down on the guy, and the guy was 350 pounds, but he got him out okay.
Now, Attorney Jason Ernest, one of our local attorneys, actually filed a writ, I believe, in court to a writ of prohibition regarding that judge. Do you have any independent knowledge, or are you familiar with that?
I am familiar with it, and I was in the paper because I find that it's the prosecution is favored by that court for some reason, even when cases are blatantly it should be dismissed or found not guilty. And I made that statement to the newspaper that he leans towards the prosecution.
Yeah, but I think there's one attorney that I know of in particular that actually won a couple of cases in there.
That's right. That's right. Once in a while, somebody lucks out, you know. But
who would that be?
It's a fluke, man. It's a fluke, you know. Yeah, I know you won a couple. I know that. But the one that got me was the handicap sticker on the mirror, where because it said, "Please remove when driving." The fellow was found not guilty because it wasn't an order, a command. It said "please." So that was one of the lucky people that beat one.
How about that preliminary hearing, though, with the golfer?
Yeah, Chuck, he was. That was amazing because prelims, defense never wins prelims, and you won that one. It was excellent. I sat through that. Yeah.
Well, it couldn't happen to a nicer defendant too. Chuck is a great guy, and a patriot. He used to. Well, he was he retired from the Navy, I think, at the E9, and I was shocked when the judge discharged the case, because he just doesn't do that. But he did in my case, and I was shocked, pleasantly surprised. But the funny thing was, is I was whispering to my client, okay, here's where we get the screw job, and then he discharged it, and Chuck was saying, yes, that's the good decision. I'm like, you don't realize it was happened. The Holy Stone just rolled.
That's right. It was exceptional. I want to remind the people once again, the commission meeting October 6th, get in touch with your commissioners and let them know how you feel about these tigers. Let's save the tigers. Let's not let anybody put them down. It's an endangered species, and that's our job now. We've got to protect the tigers. You guys got a good show here. I appreciate it. I'll listen whenever you're on, Tom.
All right. Thank you, Ray. Take care.
Faith, power to the people.
Power to the people, Ray. Keep the faith.
All right. And again, if you don't know Ray, you should get to know him. Go down to the courthouse sometime. He's a fixture there. I used to joke when I was at the DA's office that he spent more time in the courthouse than I did, and I worked a full-time job there. So, that's no exaggeration. And Ray's committed to his life to making sure that in his opinion, the fairness is done, and does a pretty good job of it.
He's a good supporter. He's been a strong supporter, despite the pressure. He could easily say, get the Tigers out of there because he wants to curry favor with the county, but he knows that what the county is trying to do is wrong, and is in violation of all the good things that we're doing, and for that reason, he's standing as a strong supporter. And I can't say I have a stronger ally than maybe my wife, but
Well, I spoke to a couple of the attorneys in the DA's office that have working knowledge of your case, and they have a totally different opinion. And when you hear their side of it, I mean, they have it's not that they're totally, Darth Vaders. I understand that theirs is more of a safety issue, and I mean, I think just give them, their fair side of it. I think they're doing it at least with good intentions, although we disagree with what those intentions are.
Well, if there was, I would understand a safety issue if there was one, but there hasn't been one. There isn't any animal control complaints. There's never been any escapes. It's not about safety. It's about satisfying some political agendas, especially with one or two of those county commissioners who think that they can, control people's lives and make decisions based on their animus, or and
we got to go.
We got to go.
Take care, and we'll see you in 3 weeks.